Hey guys, today I'm in Ridgewood in Queens. Now I don't want to harp on about it. Make sure I can cross. But as you all know from my last video, I've just been battling a bout of shingles there, so I'm in the recovery mode at the moment, which means that I can't really travel too far. However, that doesn't mean I can't tell a story. Now, the story I want to tell today is on the Ridgewood Fire Department. Now, the Ridgewood Fire Department is right in front of me there. And this building has been there, I think, since about 1910, 1912, something like that. And one day I was talking to one of the firemen outside. And he said to me that the original fire department was further down on Metropolitan Avenue. In fact, where the burger place is there, that's where he estimated it was. Now, does this street look familiar to you? It might well do, because this is where I did the New York Now and Then video, where I showed you what every building along this street looked like in 1940 compared to what it looks like today. Now, obviously I live in the area, and because I can't really travel too far, I figured I would stick to something local to film for you. So I filmed that side of the street in my last Ridgewood video. Today, I'm going to film this side of the street. And yes, I've got the history for you. It's the old UPS guy who wanted a bit of love. As soon as the light changes there, which it's just done, I can now jump over. Now, back in the 1940s, this area right here on the corner was the, I want to say Wyser. Of course, the fire engine's coming out right now. But where you see the parking lot and where the Carvel and where the there's a blooper for you. Where the Carvel and where the Burger City is. Back in, I'll wait for these guys to finish. So back in the 1940s, that used to be a pitching putt, right all the way up to about 1952. And I looked online to see whether I could find a pitch and putt, or is it pitch and putt? What do they call it? Crazy golf, putt-putt. I couldn't even remember the name of it there. And believe it or not, I couldn't find any images from the 40s of a miniature golf course. But there used to be one there. But then in the 1950s, it was around 1952, 1953, the Carvel that you see right here was built. So this Carvel has actually been here for like 70 odd years now. And what I always liked about this one, up until a few years ago, if you see the two poles on the outside, on top of them there used to be two ice cream cones, one on either pole. And I think it said On one of them it said 32 flavours, and I think on the other one it said of ice cream. And those little models had stood on that carvel since the early 1950s. But unfortunately, during Hurricane Sandy, it damaged the cones that were on top of the carvel. And then maybe a short while afterwards, I've got an image there of them damaged, and then shortly afterwards they were gone completely, I guess because of the damage. Now I'd love to see them back, but unfortunately I don't think that's going to happen. So now, as you can tell, I'm battling an awful lot of noise today. We've had a police car, a fire engine, now an ambulance. Now, right on the corner here, there used to be a store where you see the Walgreens sign, and that was the Herman Krieger real estate company. Now, when you look at it as an English spelling, it looks like it's spelled Ringe. But I actually looked up the German pronunciation of it, and it's called Ringer. Now, Herman Krieger's house, where the actual Walgreens building is, that used to be Herman Krieger's house, as you can see in this old image. And then right on the corner, he had a real estate company. And I believe over the years, it expanded and became like a general store of some type. And I think in that previous video I showed the building because it had the clock on the side. Now, Herman Krieger was a bit of a community guy. He was involved in the Ridgewood Bank in its origins. And also, he was a volunteer firefighter for the Newtown Fire Department. Now notice, I just paused because I knew the truck was going to drown me out. If you notice, I'd mentioned the Ridgewood Fire Department there. Well, Herman Krieger was a volunteer for the Newtown Fire Department. And where was the Newtown Fire Department located? I'm sure if you're pretty smart, you've guessed it by now. Oh, I don't want any music, man. I'm going to walk a little further past the store there because I don't want the music to drown me out. But back in the 1890s, early 1900s, the Newtown Fire Department was located right here, right in front of me. That's an approximation because, like I said, you had Herman Krieger's general store on the corner, which occupied like 2 buildings. And then you had the Newtown Fire Department. I believe it was called Metropolitan Engine number 12, if I'm not mistaken. And that stood here until around 1912. Now this is back in the days when they had... This is back in the day when they had horse-drawn carriages. So there were no like fire engines per se, they were horse-drawn fire engines. And if you look at this image here, if you look very carefully, you can actually see one of the horses in there. Now next door to it was the... God, what was it called now? Oh Lord, I can't remember it. I think it's called like the Ridgewood Dairy, or something like that. Shoot, I'm going to have to look that up now. I should remember it. But I'll do a different story on the dairy later, because I know the dairy was down this way as well. But anyway, I just want to show you where the original Ridgewood Fire Department was located, even though at the time it was called the Newtown Fire Department, which you can see on the image with the NFD, Newtown Fire Department. Alright, that's just a quick story today, guys. Just to tide me over while I recover from the shingles there. For anyone interested, I went to the neurologist last week, and he did give me a bunch of medicines. But unfortunately, the nerve damage on the left-hand side is rather significant, unfortunately. So at the moment I have some basically partial paralysis in the left arm. Like, I can move the left arm from the elbow down. I just can't move the upper left arm or the shoulder. Now, he did give me one medicine called Lofena, and he said just take 25 milligrams of it at night time, just to help with the pain during the night. Now, I'll be honest, I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, like that's going to do a world of good. Well, believe it or not, it actually did work. For the last 2 nights, I've had a fairly decent night's sleep, so hopefully that will continue. Anyway, Kaiser, that was it. I couldn't remember the name. So right here, this used to be the Kaiser farm, I think it was. And this was before Ridgewood was built up. So you had his farm right where the Dunkin' Donuts was, and all you had in the distance was sandbanks, which obviously now has been built up into Ridgewood. Anyway, more stories from Ridgewood to come. Bye for now, guys.